Good morning, everyone. I am Lois Ellis, Executive Director of the Dickinson Area Economic Development Alliance. Welcome to today's Investor Update webinar. We will get started shortly. Good morning. It looks like attendees are still logging in, so we're going to wait just one more minute or so, and then we'll get started. All right, good morning, everyone. As we get started, I'd like to just go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's webinar. You are listening using your computer's speaker system by default. If you prefer to join over the phone, please select telephone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed for you. All attendees are in listen-only mode. You will have the opportunity to submit questions at any time during the presentation by typing your question into the questions pane of the control panel, which should be located on the right side of your screen. Your questions will be addressed either during the presentation or at the conclusion of the slides during the question and answer session. With those details taken care of, I'll now start the presentation. For those that may have just joined us, I'm Lois Ellis, Executive Director of the Dickinson Area Economic Development Alliance. Welcome to today's Investor Update webinar. First slide, please. Since we do have some attendees today that are new to the Alliance, I wanted to just share a brief overview of who we are. Here you see our mission and just a few details about us. Collaboration is really the foundation of our approach. We believe that our strength lies in leveraging the power of working together to bring more growth and opportunity to the community. Next, thank you. A little bit about how we got here to where we are today. About 3 years ago, the organization recalibrated its structure and focus with an emphasis on better engagement with the private sector. A community conversation was undertaken to gather input and feedback on how best to establish the priorities for our economic development program. The funding structure of the organization was completely changed to an investor model and moved away from being membership driven. One of the goals of all these changes was to be at least 80% funded by the private sector. Currently, we are 88% funded by the private sector. We ask our investors for 3-year commitments, and this creates some stability for the organization in planning our work. We have about 65 investors in the organization, and we do operate with a 19-member board of directors that leads our efforts. We engage with a task force structure that helps stakeholders take part in our work. Next slide. The initial round of investor commitments are expiring this year, as we are already in our 3rd year of operations. The leadership team of the Alliance has been reaching out to investors and having renewal conversations throughout the months of this year. And we're about halfway through the process of that outreach. And I can tell you that the continued support that we've been receiving has been very strong. So we thank everyone for their contributions that are helping us accomplish what I'm going to lay out for you today. We do also welcome new investors at any time. Next slide. So obviously COVID-19 has changed how all of us work and operate in our personal lives as well. And certainly that's no different for the Alliance. As the pandemic hit us fully in March, we definitely needed to adapt to support the business community in new ways. As you probably remember, those initial weeks of the pandemic were just an absolute avalanche of information for everyone. We quickly shifted to be a trusted provider of information and reliable resources to the business community, and especially needed to do that during that initial shutdown period, when there was just so much uncertainty for businesses in knowing how they could operate or if they could operate. One of the ways we assisted was to improve our website, where we dedicated several pages to share business and community resources. We also initiated weekly email communications with timely updates on the many programs and assistance measures that were so vital in helping sustain our businesses during this incredibly challenging time. We do continue to update and communicate any COVID-related programming information as it is released, either through our website, email, or social media accounts. Next slide. Now let's move into the task force updates, where the bulk of our work takes place. Through the initial reset of the organization, a community survey was conducted, and this gave us some great insights into the topics of common concern across the business community. This feedback really helps shape the strategy and the work plan that we use to address the highest priorities that were identified. The 5 task force groups that you see listed were identified as the structure that we would work from. Each of these groups has many volunteers. In total, there are dozens of people from all sectors of the community that commit their time and expertise to help us. I thank you to everyone who assists us in collaborating on these issues. We really appreciate your contributions and support. Now I will share some of the specific highlights of the work of each of these task force groups. Talent and education is one of our top priorities, and working on that talent pipeline for our local business community. And thank you to Craig Allen, the superintendent at Breitung Township Schools, who leads this task force group for us. Next. This group has taken a two-pronged approach to addressing the talent needs of our area employers. On the short-term side, we look at high school and technical training graduates. These are individuals that typically can be found in 1- and 2-year post-secondary programs or apprenticeships, or now they have the opportunity to participate in early college programs during their high school years while they're exploring these technical and hands-on types of careers. Another angle that we use is communicating with alumni and former residents that have moved away from the area. We do this via email communications twice a year, highlighting the positive changes in the community and raising awareness of the career opportunities for those that may be interested in moving back, if not now, maybe sometime in the future. The local schools have been great partners in connecting us to their alumni groups for this purpose. With the pandemic changing the workplace dynamic, many people may be able to choose where to live and do their work remotely. This can be an advantage for rural communities, so we're looking forward to seeing if that trend takes shape in our area as well. Our next alumni news communication will be going out in November, and this task force group will help us develop that message in concert with the marketing task force that you'll hear about more later. One event that we were not able to host this year that I do want to mention because it's been a great initiative is our intern social. Typically each June we invite the interns that are fulfilling roles at local companies to join us just for a social evening, a social event. This really helps the interns meet others that are in the same position they are. And for many of them, it's their first time living in the area, so they don't know much about what there is to do and see. So it just allows us an opportunity to educate these interns about the career opportunities and why they may want to consider choosing to locate and work in our community. So we really look forward to being able to resume these types of events in the future. When we look at the long-term approach, the main focus here is creating that awareness with our young people in grades 8 through 12 about the career opportunities that they can find right here in their community. We also look to educate and reach parents, teachers, guidance counselors, and just the community in general to increase the overall understanding of our local workforce needs. We do enjoy strong partnerships with the area K-12 schools and also with the Dickinson Iron Intermediate School District and their tech center and Bay College West Campus, as we all have the same goals that are closely aligned in helping our young people find those career opportunities that are available in their hometown. One of those initiatives that really helps us communicate to the young students is our Heavy Metal Tours initiative. Next slide. Heavy Metal Tours is a collaboration of educational partners and our private sector companies. They work together to share a message that can change the perceptions about manufacturing and technical careers in the Dickinson County area. One of the largest events that the Heavy Metal Tours hosts is the annual Manufacturing Day event, which is celebrated each October. Typically, this event is a gathering of 250 to 300 ninth grade students who come to Bay College West Campus for a series of 30-minute hands-on activities that simulate some of the skills that are needed by today's manufacturers. These activities are facilitated by the companies themselves. Unfortunately, this year, we are not able to host this same event in person, but we are adapting to provide a virtual event this year. And it will be a pre-recorded message, a video that is in production right now and will be available to the area schools starting on October 16th. Along with the video, a quiz game that will test the students' knowledge of manufacturing careers will be provided to keep the activity a little bit more fun and engaging for the students. Well, the format is definitely different this year. The message remains the same. Manufacturing offers a variety of career paths that are both financially and personally rewarding. And we just want to encourage the students to take the time to explore these options in their high school years so they can find a good match for their interests. Next slide. Another strategy used by the Talent and Education Task Force is the Keep the UP Working campaign. This is mainly used through social media, and it was started during the pandemic to raise awareness that many of our local companies were still hiring and even growing during the initial shutdown period of the COVID-19 crisis. We are just so very fortunate here in the Dickinson County area to have many businesses that are deemed essential to the economy. And so they continue to operate fully throughout the pandemic, and in some cases needed to even increase their workforce to keep up with their customers' demands. So this campaign we use to encourage workers to think about their long-term career options and not to focus on the short-term unemployment benefits that were being made available at the time. The campaign is now shifting a little bit, and we are moving to a featured employer series where we will continue to highlight area employers that are growing and hiring for new positions, raising awareness of that amongst the general community. More about this effort is available on our website, or we welcome you to follow us on social media to learn more as well. Next slide. Another top priority that was identified through the community survey process is good infrastructure and new housing development. And this task force has been a very important part of encouraging those options. And we appreciate the leadership of Tony Edelbeck, city manager from the city of Kingsford, who helps lead this group. Next slide. This task force is really one of our broadest group of stakeholders. We have great participation from local units of government, private developers and contractors, real estate professionals, utility companies, transportation organization representatives. It's really about engaging that variety of stakeholders and collaborating on common issues. Next slide, please. One of the highest priorities of this task force group is to complete the GIS mapping capabilities in order to represent all of Dickinson County. GIS mapping is a tool that creates a visual map out of layers of data points. Availability of this type of information is just especially helpful to developers as they make decisions about investing in our community. And having that information available in an easily accessed web location is a true benefit that they all have given us feedback on. So the goal has been to get to that countywide view and have that available in one location. Currently, many of the local units of government have invested in a GIS representation of their own jurisdictions, but there's just not that overall view of the county in its entirety. Through the work of this task force, by getting everyone together, the group is very close to a mapping solution and is working with the municipal partners along with a couple of private sector companies such as Empower Innovations and Coleman Engineering to develop a cost-sharing model that can benefit all the participants with the solution. So we're very encouraged that that's moving on a good path in order to meet the goal. Another top priority of this group is achieving an updated housing study for the area that provides a current view of the housing needs. Housing has been a big issue. We hear that feedback all the time especially from local employers as they're bringing new people into the community, and those folks are not finding good options available to them. So this group embarked on a process last year about this time to initiate a housing market assessment with the help of our regional planning agency, QPAD. The process kicked off with a focus group for stakeholders to provide their input and experiences with the local housing market. The final report was just released in June and can be found on our website. You'll see the cover image there of the document on your slide. I can tell you that past housing reports were very data heavy, lengthy, usually more than 100 pages, and somewhat difficult to read in order to discern the key takeaways. So those were items that we wanted to make sure we avoided with this assessment. The report was tailored in a much more streamlined manner for ease of readability and is just 38 pages long, which helps us reach a broader audience with the information. The updated report confirms the need for new housing options in the area, both rental and ownership, and includes recommendations for those housing formats. So we encourage any interested stakeholders to take a look at that report on our website. We are seeing some positive movement on new rental housing in the area with some downtown Iron Mountain rehabilitation projects that are creating some new rental units in our downtown core. And then also some activity with duplexes and multi-unit rentals in the city of Kingsford as well. These are very encouraging signs that developers are responding to the market opportunity that we know exists and that the housing assessment confirms. Commercial redevelopment activity has also seen some activity that is interesting with some of the larger properties in the area changing hands. The former Shopko site has been purchased and is being repurposed by Iron Mountain Power Sports for their new location. And the former Lakeshore Systems site in the city of Kingsford is being redeveloped as an event venue. And the second phase of that redevelopment will include some rental apartments. Data tools such as the GIS mapping systems that I mentioned a moment ago, and then the housing market assessment are just very important pieces of information that help inform developers as they look to implement some of these projects. One other data source that I would like to mention is our annual publication of the Dickinson County Data Booklet. We refresh this each year with new data, and the current version that includes data from 2019 is available on our website. The document contains many demographic and economic statistics that may be helpful to many of you in your work. And so I invite you to check that out as well. And if there are pieces of data that you're not finding there, please reach out to me. I do have some data sources that I can run different reports from and hopefully address any questions that you might have related to data. Next slide, please. Moving on, we'll focus on the Business Retention and Growth Task Force, which is headed up by Rich Mortel, and we certainly thank Rich for sharing all of his business expertise with our group. It's been very helpful. Next slide, please. Some of their efforts have included using business surveys to help this task force group address the needs and interests of the business community. Typically, this is more tailored to the small and medium-sized businesses throughout the area. We use business retention visits as well as an ongoing program to hear directly from businesses one-on-one about any of the challenges or opportunities that they're facing and how we can better arm them with information or tools to be successful. Another component of this task force has been sharing informational presentations with the business community on topics that they're interested in. And we do that through a small business roundtable that we partner with the Small Business Development Center of Michigan on. They have a vast network of qualified professionals that are proficient in training small business owners on various topics. And so we co-host trainings with the SBDC quarterly, and we do that in concert with the Chamber of Commerce so that we're reaching their membership as well. We just hosted a training last week in this manner that was focused on how you can tailor your marketing strategy post COVID-19 and make sure that you're reaching consumers in appropriate ways. And we'll have another training coming up in December as well. There are some other roundtables there that have been initiatives from this group to help specific populations like the CEOs or human resources professionals to better arm them with information and help address any concerns that they have as well. Next slide, please. Loyal to Local is probably the most visible program coming out of this task force group that I'm sure most of you recognize. So this Loyal to Local is all about raising awareness of the importance of supporting the businesses in our community. And we also share the ways that this business community gives back to our community every day. This effort mainly uses a social media campaign and the visual signage that you see throughout the community to promote local purchasing. This program just kicked off its third year on July 1, and I will tell you that the planning committee was a little hesitant and unsure how businesses might respond to the program during this difficult time. But I'm happy to report that the program is actually seeing its strongest level of support yet since its inception, and we now have 119 businesses that have joined the effort. Next slide, please. Because we all know that it's so important right now, more than ever before, to support our local businesses, Loyal to Local has added 2 gift card programs this year. First, we added a web page on our website to specifically list the participants that offer gift cards in one location so that consumers can visit just one place and find many options. You'll see an image there on the right that is from our gift card page. And our options are categorized so that you can easily find what you're looking for. That information is available on our web link there, loyaltolocal.org. So please visit there if you're purchasing any gift cards. We'd love for you to use these businesses that are participating in the program. Second, we instituted another gift card program to work with the area's large employers as they look to purchase gift cards as rewards or holiday bonuses for their employees. The goal is to match up our small local businesses that can provide these types of gift cards with the large employers that are seeking to reward their employees. This will really help us keep some dollars in our community, and we're really looking forward to seeing how this works throughout the holiday season that's coming at us soon on the calendar, where we can help support some of these smaller businesses at this challenging time. Another effort that was completed by the Loyal to Local group during the pandemic was to install 100 new yard signs throughout the community with new messages reminding consumers that spending dollars locally really makes a difference, and especially during the challenging times that we've seen businesses having to be closed or operating at reduced capacities. There's an image of one of those messages on your screen as well. Next slide, please. Moving on to the Government Relations and Advocacy Task Force, you'll see there that Joe Stevens is our leader for this group, and I thank him for his time and contributions to our efforts. Next slide. This task force is really about building strong relationships with our local, state, and federal elected officials, helping to bridge the communication between business and government. During the pandemic, I have been participating in weekly calls with my economic development colleagues from across the UP, and also the state and federal legislators that represent the UP, along with their staff members. This has been a great opportunity for us to share local concerns and feedback that we're receiving from the business community on various initiatives. We are still meeting monthly as a group, and we continue to advocate for the needed support programs that are so essential to our business and our communities with these elected officials. I do want to share that there are 2 newly established local redevelopment tools available with the establishment of the Land Bank Authority and the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority in 2019 for Dickinson County. While these entities were established last year, they are taking some important steps this year to spur redevelopment and housing options. In March, earlier this year, we were able to co-host a training with Dickinson County that focused on these tools that are used by land banks and brownfield authorities in order to help our local stakeholders understand the benefits of working with these programs. We did have 35 attendees that represented everything from local elected officials, staff from local units of government, and interested developers attend this session. The content from the training is archived on our website. If you are interested in learning more, you can find presentation content there on both the Land Bank and the Brownfield Authority. The Brownfield Authority has already approved 1 new project, and that is the former Lakeshore Systems building in Kingsford that I mentioned earlier, that's being redeveloped into a couple of purposes, the event venue and the rental apartment phase. And then the Land Bank Authority is expecting to purchase some vacant parcels during the October public auction process in order to encourage some new housing development on those parcels. So both of these groups are moving forward with development initiatives and helping to improve and redevelop some sites in our communities. I do serve on both of these authority boards, and I'm very pleased that we have these new tools available for broader use in our communities. Next slide, please. The Marketing and Branding Task Force, the last group of our 5 task force initiatives, is in the process of naming a new leader. So you'll see there that that is vacant, but their work continues. Next slide. This task force has benefited greatly in 2020 from the Alliance contracting with Elsa Faust Consulting for marketing strategy and support. With Elsa's help, we are sharing our message more consistently in many ways, updating our website more regularly, and publishing more news releases on important topics. In 2020, one of our biggest initiatives has been our feature article in Business in Focus magazine. This is a North American publication with over 400,000 subscribers. The article provided us with an excellent opportunity to highlight our revived approach to economic development and how we're using collaboration to create momentum with our efforts. And it is a great marketing piece that we will be able to continue to use into the future. The cover page is there on your screen, and you can find the full feature article on our website if you'd like to read it. We've also increased our social media presence and better targeted our messages to the specific platforms that we use. If you are not yet connected with us on social media, I do invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter, and look for our messages on those forums. I'll also mention here that we do distribute a monthly newsletter, and if you are not receiving that newsletter, please reach out to me and we'll be happy to make sure that you get that delivered to you each month so you can keep up on our happenings. This Marketing and Branding Task Force works in concert with other task force groups often on initiatives, and they did work closely with the talent and education team to create that Keep Up Working campaign that I mentioned earlier. So that's been one of our joint efforts. Something new this year as well is we've been able to become a contributor to ruralinsights.org. This is a relatively new website that serves as a research and information source for the broader UP community. We were able to contribute an initial article a couple months ago that outlined our collaboration and economic development work. And we're working on our second contribution to this website, and that'll be shared with them in just the next few days. Next slide. So that wraps up our task force reports today, but I wanted to give you a little bit of information about what to expect after today's session. We are recording this webinar today, and we will make that available to you in the next couple of days. We're also going to share a summary of the webinar content, so you can look for that. If you prefer a more condensed version of the information, you will have that available to you as well. I also want to mention that all of our task force groups could benefit from additional participants joining our efforts. If you have an interest in being a part of the Alliance, or someone at your business or organization has expertise that you believe could be helpful to our group, please reach out to me. My contact information will be on the next slide. Emily, it looks like we lost the slide view. There you are. And so please reach out to me with the contact information that you'll see in just a moment. For the Alliance investors that are attending today, I just wanted you to know that our next update will be our annual meeting on February 18th, and we'll be in touch as the year continues on when we know what type of format we'll be able to meet in February. So keep that date in mind. Next slide, please. There you'll see my contact information, and that brings us to the conclusion of our presentation. I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. Simply submit your question in the questions pane of the control panel, which should be located on the right side of your screen. Emily, do we have any questions that have come in?
We do. First question, I see that you are getting some good press out there. The recent article and other positive info out there might help us get some additional traction in talent attraction. How can we help get the word out?
That's an excellent question, and I'm so happy that it was asked, because really it's all about just helping us share the information. So if you can follow us and on social media in particular and help share posts that we're sharing, it helps us reach networks that we don't have access to, because you all have your individual spheres of influence, and we would love to tap into those. So yes, great point. Anytime we can extend our reach through our partners, we would love to take advantage of that opportunity. So please engage with us on social media, or if you see a press release, feel free to share that with anyone in your network that you feel would benefit from the information. Thank you.
Great. Next question. How has the community and local economy recovered from COVID-19? What are some concerns if the UP is moved back to phase 4?
Yeah, obviously we're watching that very closely. I did mention earlier, this community has been somewhat blessed in that we do have a number of essential manufacturers or larger employers that were allowed to continue to operate without interruption. But obviously our small business community was affected greatly during the initial shutdown period, and many of them have not yet recovered, especially those that have the restrictions of operating at a lower capacity. And, certainly we're concerned with what we're seeing in the trends as far as the coronavirus raising up at this time. We're hopeful that that will get under control, because we do not want to take a step backward. There would be further restrictions on capacity at some types of businesses, and we certainly don't want to see that. So that's one of the reasons we stay in connection with our broader UP community stakeholders and the economic development entities to share information and make sure that all of our communities are up to speed on the data, and understanding that we all need to take it seriously and help take the measures that are out there and help keeping us safe. So that's some of the efforts that we're just trying to make sure we arm our businesses with the information, our community with the information, and hopefully we will not take that step. It seems like the governor has been good in that she's just continues to share warnings with us, and hopefully that will be enough to get this in check.
Great. Next question. How can I get more involved given the current circumstances and especially COVID-19?
Yeah, it's definitely a little tougher. I think we're all inundated with virtual meetings or settings like we're even in today with webinars. But that is the means that we have available to us in order to continue to carry on our work. And so if you do want to get involved, just reach out to me, email or phone. You see my contact information there on the slide, and I can let you know what the opportunities look like. It could be something as simple as a one-time effort or contribution of your time, or an ongoing commitment with one of our task force groups. We have a variety of options available, so I'd love to chat individually with anyone that's interested and see what we can match up to align with your interests and your expertise. Thank you for that. We'd love to have more participation. We're always welcoming that.
I Next question. I know you mentioned social media. Is there anywhere else I can go to find information on the Alliance and uh, what the group is up to?
Sure, you're welcome to visit our website. There's a variety of information there. We post our news releases there and updates. There's a tab that has our newsletter archive, which is a great place to catch up on what's happening with our group. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're not receiving that newsletter directly to your email inbox, we're happy to get you set up with that. That's open to anyone that is interested in our work. So the website is another great resource. And then of course these updates when we have them throughout, throughout the year. We do this at least one time publicly for everyone, and then at least one additional time for our Alliance investor group.
All right. Next question. How does the gift card program work? Are the gift cards sent or do you have to go to the business yourself? How does that work?
Yeah, each business is going to be a little different in how they handle their gift cards, but quite a few of them can just have you purchase a gift card either through their website or over the phone, and they can send it to you. But many of them will also have the option that you can just pick it up at their location and pay for it at that time as well. We really appreciate everybody thinking about using local businesses whenever you are purchasing gifts or gift cards. I know they all really appreciate it, and especially so this year.
All right, that's all I have for questions that came in.
Well, great. I'm glad we had this time to be able to provide you with an update. I thank everyone for taking the time to do that. I know we're all busy and probably have a stack of Zoom meeting links and webinars in our inbox every day. So appreciate you taking the time to tune in and hear from us today. If any questions come up at any time, you are welcome to reach out to me. And thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.